أزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قولا من رب رحيم صدق الله العظيم. Respected brothers and my dear young friends, mothers and sisters here at home, in the last tafsir lesson we mentioned regarding the reckoning and the accountability that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take of all the people, and the different methods and the different ways in which people will be taken to task and which they will be accounted for. In this ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then mentions that inna ashab al-jannati al-yawma fi shughulin fakihun, that the people of Jannah will certainly enjoy themselves in what they will be doing on this day. Some mention that whilst Hisab Kitab will be still going on, the people of Jannat will be announcement will be made for them to go into Jannat, whilst those people who are destined for Jahannam will still be on the plains of Hashar, will still be in the place where accountability will be taking place. And the reason being is that when they will see that flocks of people, massive groups of people will be going to Jannat, then this remorse and this regret that they already have will increase even more. This will be another painful blow to them, that only if you would have listened to the messengers, only if you would have brought Iman on the messengers and brought Iman on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then today we would have also be going. So Mufassiri mentioned that the Ahl Jannat will go in Jannat first. Then the Jahannamis and the Ahl Jahannam will go in Jahannam. They will see the people of Jannat going, and this will increase their sadness, their remorse, their regret. So anyway, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in these next following few ayats what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prepared for the believers and how Jannat will be. So he says, Inna ashab al-jannati al-yawma fi shughulin fakihun, that the people of Jannat on this day, after the day of reckoning, they will be in shughul, they will be occupying themselves. Fakihun, in enjoyment. So paradise, Jannat, has been adorned, has been prepared with all forms of entertainment, all forms of enjoyment and pleasure. The only thing that is in Jannat is enjoyment, happiness, pleasure. There is no name, no sign, no sense of sadness, regret, remorse, nothing like this. And there are so many happiness, methods of happiness, surprise that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put for us. That Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions in hadith that Yaqulullah azza wa jal, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself says that A'adatu li ibadi as-salihin, that my pious servants, I have prepared for them mala aynun ra'at, such bounties, such blessings, such surprises, mala aynun ra'at, that no eyes have ever seen. Wala udhunun samiyat, no ears have even ever heard of these bounties, these happiness, these enjoyments, these entertainment, no ears have ever heard of. Wala khatar ala qalbi bashar, and never has a insan, never has a human even thought about these things. These things have not even passed in his heart. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made such a place for us in Jannah. And to enjoy all this, the reason being that whilst living in this dunya, a human, a insan, a believer, a mu'min, when he is obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then he has to restrict himself from many things. And after he dies, he's escaping all these difficulties, he's escaping all these burdens, all the hardships that were upon him. That was only for 60 years. And the moment he dies, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens up the doors of eternal bliss for him. But the question here arises is that in this world we live, and people have jobs, they have to go to work, they have to earn a living, there's risk involved, and then there's worship involved, there's farais, there's wajibats to do. So continuously a person is occupied in something or another. So then someone might think that in Jannat it's going to become a bit boring. What are we going to do? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that fi shughulin fakihun. Ulama mentioned that in Jannat their occupation, their profession or their work or their job will There'll be entertainment. Like a person when he goes on holiday for a week or two, he goes to Dubai or wherever he goes, and generally what does he do in that 1 week? Just entertainment, maza, enjoyment. There's no work involved. There's no emails. There's no office work. There's no answering office phone calls. In Jannat, the occupation of a person will be enjoyment. That in this dunya, you live the life of obedience and you restricted yourself. So now in Jannat for you is unrestricted enjoyment. Do as much as you want, whatever you want. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prepared everything for us. And there are no duties in Jannat as well. No farais, no wajibat, no worship. Yes, as a person will breathe, ulama mentioned that dhikr will be there. Like a person breathes in this world, you don't realize you're breathing. It's not something that you have to apply your mind to. When you're sleeping, you're breathing. When you're eating, you're breathing. When you're walking, you're breathing. When you're working, you're breathing. It's a second nature. Likewise, dhikr will be a second nature. That in Jannat, a person will continue to be immersed in dhikr. So, to dispel this thought that what will the people of Jannat do in Jannat, will not get bored, Allah SWT says that fi shughulin fakihun, fakih. On the word fakih, fakihun is the plural of fakih. And fakih means when a person is in great happiness. Fakih means when a person is in great happiness. Hazrat Mufti Shafi Sahib mentions that fakih signifies the happiness of the heart and the happiness of the surroundings around you. When a person is in complete happiness, whilst we live in this world, some people might be happy and some people might seem happy from the outside. They might have a good house, a good car, they might have everything at their fingertips, everything at their disposal. But who knows how, they might have sleep at night. There are so many people who are millionaires but can't sleep at night because of this amount of stress they have. So inwardly they're all there. They're in distress. Inwardly they are in sadness. So this is not complete happiness. And some people, they have inward happiness. They have sukoon, they have itminan. But outwardly, when you look at them, their life is very difficult. A lot of hard work to do. They have to toil and turn. There's other aspects, other factors that make the outside world hard for them. So this person might be happy inwardly, but outwardly there is some sort of difficulty. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made Jannat in such a way that internally, externally, in every form, a person will be in complete happiness. And when a person is in complete happiness, then the word faqih is used. That they will be so happy. They will be enjoying Jannat in the best possible manner. But there will be no illnesses there. There will be no hardships there. No money problems. Nothing. A person will be free from all types of problems. Somebody asked Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal rahmatullahi that Matar Raha ya Imam. O Imam al-Mu'mineen, O Imam of the believers, Matar Raha. When will we get rest? When do we get rest? When can we relax? When can we chillax? When can we put our feet up? So Ahmad rahmatullahi mentioned, in the awwali qadamin tada'uha fil jannah. The moment you put your first foot, the first step in Jannah, that's it. All the hardships, all the anxiety, all the frustration, all the stress, all the difficulties, everything is put behind you, never to return. Never to return. Once you step into that Jannah, the moment you get into that Jannah, that's it. That's it. So anyway, Hazrat Maulana Idris Kandi rahmatullah mentions that Allah, on the day of when a person goes in Jannah, who will be the host? Allah. He says Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be the host of the dwellers of Jannah. And there will be no limits of enjoyment and no limits of pleasure. So what life will they be living? A life of eternal bliss, eternal happiness. So when you understand this, that on one side Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is promising eternal bliss, eternal happiness, does it befit somebody? Or does it make sense that for a few temptations, for a few desires, for a few moments of happiness, fake happiness, for a few moments of happiness, we disobey Allah? A bit of guna here. Are we ready to are we sacrificing the eternal happiness? When a person puts his mind to it, you realize that if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made eternal happiness, millions, you can't, Jannat is never ending, everlasting, never ending. Imam Ghazali mentioned that if somebody wants to comprehend Jannat as being never lasting, never ending, and everlasting, he says, imagine this example, that this whole world, forget the whole world, imagine this whole masjid. Imagine this whole masjid is filled with small beads or grains of rice, the whole masjid. And every 10 years, a bird comes and picks one grain of rice up. and the whole masjid is filled. Will a time come where there will be no rice left in this masjid? When will that time come? Jannat is everlasting. That time will never come in Jannat. So does it befit a human, a believer, a mu'min? On one side he pays a kalima, and then for a few moments of happiness, a few moments of making this person happy, making our lowly desires happy, making our nafs happy, that we disobey Allah, and we put all these on the line. And sometimes it could be that one happiness that could change and turn your whole world upside down. Ibn al-Jawzi, remember the story, Ibn al-Jawzi rahmatullahi alayhi has wrote a book, and Ghaliban is in that kitab, he writes about something that people then were so foolish. And he says that in Baghdad, there was a person by the name of Salih al-Mu'adhin. Salih al-Mu'adhin. He used to give adhan. And in them days, he used to climb the minara, there was no mic and he gave adhan. So one day while he was climbing the mic, and in them days, people used to live side by side, Jews, Christians, Muslims, everyone used to, because Baghdad was under the Khilafat and under the reign and control of the Muslims. And this has always been in history. If you look down the line of history, whenever Muslims have been ruling, every person has been given the rights. Whether it's a Jew, whether it's a Muslim, whether it's a Christian. The sad thing is, when others ruling, then that's when the rights are not given. That's when the rights are, people are treated unjustly. So people used to live together. In fact, there are so many cases that they'd rather prefer to live under the Khilafat of the Muslim, because they know they'll not be treated unjustly. And somebody give an example. I was listening to a bayan, I can't remember, but somebody is saying that in those days, those Muslims that were living, say in Medina Munawwara or in Baghdad, a Muslim has to give zakat. So whatever he earns, he has to give how much? 2.5%. And if he has 1 million pounds, or let's say 10,000 pounds, he has to give 250 pounds. 250 pounds. If he has 100,000 pounds, he has to give 2,500 pounds zakat. But a person who's a non-Muslim, he has to give dhimma. He has to give a fixed amount. And that could be 200 pounds. So he could be worth millions, but he only has to give 200 pounds. And a Muslim only got 10,000 pounds, we have to give 250 pounds. So the Islamic way of governing is so equal in rights for everybody. So anyway, this person was living, this person climbed, and in them days, so there's a Christian living opposite the masjid. So whilst he climbed the minara, his eyes fell inside the house. His gazes fell in the house, and inside the house that there was a young girl. And thus his heart was fully engulfed in this love for this girl, and his heart went in flames. So he came down and he knocked at the door. When he knocked at the door, she asked, who is Saleh? So everyone knew that he's a pious person. So she thought he had a problem or something. So she let him in the house. When she let him in the house, locked it, and then he said, I want to fulfill my desires. And I want it now, or I will do X, Y, and Z. So they said, no, I'm a Nasara, and we can't do it. You're Muslim. If you want to get married to me, or if you want to fulfill desires, you have to be a Christian. You have to renounce your deen. He said, okay, I'll renounce my deen. A moment ago, he was going to give the Ailan. Hayya ala salah, come for success. Hayya ala salah, come for salah. Hayya ala falah, come towards success. He was going to give that Ailan. But in a moment, that badness, what happened? That he said, I'm ready to renounce my deen. He said, okay, then renounce it. So he renounced it. He said, but I don't believe you. I don't believe you. So eat this meat, pork, eat this pork. So he consumed the pork. She said, I still don't believe you. If you drink this alcohol, then I believe that you have renounced your deen. So he drank the alcohol. When a person drinks the alcohol the first time, he doesn't have tolerance towards it. So he instantly becomes drunk. So then he was affected by this alcohol, and she took him to the roof, and he fell over the roof. When he fell over, he fell and he died on the spot. When the father of the girl came, she narrated the whole story. So he went outside and called the Muslims. When they found out that this is what happened, they dragged him and they put him on a pile of rubbish. But this person has renounced his deen for what? For one lustful gaze. He's lost everything for one lustful gaze. So sometimes we don't know that it could be that last guna could be the one that pushes us away. So a mu'min, a believer, never does guna with the hope of istighfar afterwards. Yes, a mu'min does guna by mistake. He does a mistake and he falls, he trips. When we walk on the footpath, we don't fall down over on purpose. We don't feel like I want to fall over. We trip and we fall. It's accident. A believer sins accident. And as soon as he trips, what do? we straight away stand up. In the same way, a believer straight away stands in the court of Allah and does tawbah. But we don't do guna thinking, oh, I got tawbah, I'll do tawbah at night. A person will never do guna. So anyway, Akalman person, person with intellect will not sacrifice this beautiful Jannah Allah SWT has prepared for us for petty desires and temptation of this dunya. Allah SWT then goes on to say, Hum wa azwajum fi dhilalin alal araik muttaqiyun. Hum wa azwajum. They, these dwellers of Jannah, and their spouses, fi dhilalin alal araik muttaqiyun, will be resting on couches in the shades of Jannah. Allah SWT is showing what kind of atmosphere. We don't live in a very hot country, but those people who live in a country where it's really hot, they appreciate what Allah SWT says when He says, "Fi dhilal," in shade, meaning that the importance and the value of shade is only understood when somebody lives in a country where it's scorching hot, the blazing sun, and on top of that, you live in a country where it's more or less desert, there's no trees. So in them days, Sahabas, the first audience, the first listeners, the first invitees to this Quran were the Arabs, and they were living in a time, in a place where it was a desert, and it was scorching hot. So they knew the value of a shade, and they knew the value of cold water. That's what Rasulullah made the dua, that Allah, the coolness, the cold water, make your love to me more beloved than cold water. Why cold water? Because cold water, they only appreciated how cold water tastes and feels when you're in the middle of a desert or something. So likewise, when the Arabs were traveling, they'd be in a desert, scorching heat, no trees. If you found a tree and you got the shade, you got everything for that day. But if you've been traveling and you're tired, exhausted, frustrated, and it's mid-afternoon and it's scorching hot, and if you don't find a tree to have shade beneath, then that's the last thing you want. But you get to a place and there's no tree. So at that time, a person understands how important shade is. So because they knew the value of shade, Allah SWT says that in Jannah there'll be shades. And ulama say, why will there be shades? Because there'll be so many trees. So many trees means a lot of shade. And number two, so many trees means lots of fruits. So the whole atmosphere and the fiza of Jannah will be filled with trees, food, fruits. And some say that the shade will be because in Jannah there will be no sun. There will be no sun in Jannah. It'll just be day throughout. It'll just be light throughout. And some say the sun, the light will be from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's tajalli. Some say it will be from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's arsh. The light that will emanate from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's arsh will be so powerful, will be more powerful than the sun. So that's why there will be trees to shade you from this light. And some say that what's the purpose of a shade? A purpose of a shade is when a person goes under a shade, then you can feel a cool breeze. You're out of the pain. You're in a very, very regulated and very comfort atmosphere. So he's saying when Allah SWT mentions fi dhilal, he's saying that Jannah, the atmosphere will be very nice. It will be a very nice atmosphere. No overheat, no coolness, no cold. It will be absolutely perfect according to humans and according to insans liking. Alal araiki muttaqiyun, they'll be on couches, on nice seatings. And again, muttaqiyun, they'll be resting, they'll be leaning. So Mufassirin and Mufassirin say that when a person leans, this is usually a person only leans when he is not preoccupied with any sort of stress, etc. It shows that the person is completely at peace of mind, no stress. And you see in this dunya, somebody's got a problem, he's got a court case, he won't have time to rest, he won't have time to put his feet up. He'll always be in some sort of a stress, anxiety, frustration. He'll be walking around. He tells him, sit down. No, I'm just going to walk around. I need to get my mind off this. The person is fully resting against something, fully seated against something. That shows that he's not fully relaxed. So in Jannah, the atmosphere, the whole fiza will just be relaxing. Aram and maza. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then goes and says, Hum was one fi dhilal Allah muttaqun, lahum fiha fakiyatu wa lahum ma yaddahun. For them in Jannat, lahum fiha fakiyah, for them will be fakiyah, fruits. Wa lahum ma yaddahun, or whatever they will ask for, whatever they will call for. Whatever they'll call for. In Jannat, Allah Ibn Kathir mentions that there will be so many fruits. And you'll pick up fruit and you'll bite it, and then you bite again, the taste will be different. And each time you bite it, there'll be so many different tastes in that one bite. In that one bite. That's just one fruit. There'll be so many fruits. And whatever you call for. In Jannah, you will not ask for something. But It's like a king is sitting and he calls us, Walaw. And some say, Yadda'un yatamanna. Yadda'un calls for yatamanna means whatever they wish for, they won't even have to say. Their heart will wish for something. They will wish for some kebabs, they'll wish for some fruit, and that fruit will come straight. It will just come down. They'll see a bird flying, and in their heart they just feel, I want to eat that bird. And in the moment that bird will come down, it will be roasted the way you want it. You know, people go for steak, and they always some say half cooked, semi-cooked, this fulana, half raw, well done, whatever, the way you want it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will get that bird and you burn it and you eat it. Once you eat it, the bones will be there, and once again, that bird will become a bird and fly off. You think about pomegranate, the pomegranate will come. But not like the dunya, it will be very big, very tasty. Every single seed will have a different taste. Follow my down. So these are all the physical benefits, and these are all the external mazat that we get. Besides that, Allah subhanahu says, Salamun qawlan min Rabbi Rahim. As-salam, peace upon you, is the word. Salam qawl is the word min Rabbi Rahim that they will receive from the merciful Lord. That Allama Qutubi Rahmatullah mentions that Bainama Ahlul Jannati fi na'imihim, that whilst the people of Jannat will be enjoying all these ni'mats, all these external ni'mats, all these bounties, then all of a sudden, is sata alahum nur. All of a sudden, a nur, a light will come over them. They'll be encapsulated, they'll be covered by nur. فَرَفَعُوا رُؤُوسَهُم, they will all raise their heads. Where is this nur coming from? فَإِذَا رَبِّ تَعَالَى, all of a sudden, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they'll be gazing at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قَدْ إِتَّلَى عَلَيْهِم مِّن فَوْقِهِم, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be there from above them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Assalamu alaikum ya Ahl al-Jannah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala himself is Assalamu alaikum ya Ahl al-Jannah. O Jannat wale, O the people of Jannat, may peace be upon you, may salamati be upon you. Salamati, what does salamati mean? Salamati means safety from every form, every sort, anything that will put a person in distress, whether it's illness, whether it's death, whether it's disease, anything. So ulama say, when a human says to another human, Salamu alaikum, that is a dua. That means may Allah send peace upon you. But when Allah Azza wa Jal himself says Assalamu alaikum, what is that? That is no longer dua, that is a reality. That is actual, that's a fact. That now salam, now whilst you're in Jannat, there will be no death, no disease, no difficulties, no stress. Because Allah himself is giving us what? Salam. So the people will raise their heads, and when they will see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Assalamu alaikum ya Ahl al-Jannah. فَيَنْظُرُ إِلَيْهِمْ, they will look at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will look at them and they will be gazing at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then all of a sudden, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they will be so immersed in His ni'mat that they will forget all the other ni'mats. When a person gets to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the didar of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all the didar of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when they will be in that ni'mat, that is one of the greatest ni'mats of Jannah. One is وَرِضْوَانُ مِنَ اللَّهِ أَكْبَرُ. One is Allah's radamandi, Allah's happiness, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that I said, I will never become angry with you. That and the didar of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These two will be the greatest ni'mats of Jannah. When people will get the vision of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they will forget everything, the who's, the kusus, the palaces, the who's, the foods. They will forget everything. Them ni'mats will become minute compared to the vision that they will have of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَلَا يَلْتَفِتُونَ إِلَى شَيْءٍ. Nobody will look anywhere. Everybody will just be gazing non-stop, one time, at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. حَتَّى يَحْتَجِبُ عَنْهُ, until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then, once again, his tajalli will go, he will, and the nur that they will receive from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there will be so much barakat that their homes will, and their lives will be filled with that. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us this ni'mat. So from this we can understand the importance of staying firm on deen, obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is only a 60, 70 year life. So many of us, we passed 30-year mark, 40-year mark, we passed our halfway mark. We've got a few years to go, 20 years, 30 years ago. Just that bit of firmness, keep toiling, turning. And I said, like Imam Muhammad mentioned, that first step you put in Jannat, after that, Rahati, Mazai Maza. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the correct understanding. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us His tawfiq to stay firm on deen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all the bounties that He has promised in the Quran, in this dunya and in Akhirat, in Jannah, in Maryam Mash. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله بالعالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه